What's up, gamers? And I think that the class system in Honkai Star Rail could be changed and needs adjustment. And the reason I'm making this video is because I saw basic EO's video on this. I watch EO a lot. I love him a lot. Love his content. But I want to make a video talking about the class system in Honkai Star Rail and kind of put my thoughts into the ring on this. So big shout out to EO, Code, and I know Rehoo made a video as well on this. For bringing this topic up. And also, guys, make sure you go watch Rehoo's and EO's video as well. They do provide a lot of insight and some good things that can be changed to the game here as far as the pass system is concerned. I'll leave a link for both of these videos in the description down below. I've always thought about like how we could change the class system in Honkai Star Rail, but I've just never made a video on it. So I've written down some things in my notes today, and I just kind of want to talk about things that I think could change with the class system or with the character buff system in general, like passively buffing characters based off classes and stuff. I'll get into it because I have some ideas that I think could be implemented pretty well, and I think they would be pretty fun ideas too. I do like the majority of EO's ideas of like having individual buffs per like each I guess class, you could say, like hunt, preservation, and stuff like that. And then also the idea of bringing multiple characters or multiple paths. Like I know he brought up in his video like hunting erudition characters having like a synergistic buff with each other, like giving hunt speed and giving the erudition class extra attack. I think that is a really cool buff to have, and that kind of melds with the points I'm going to talk about today. But yeah, big shout outs to them for making this point known. Hopefully, if we make enough videos, or content creators make enough videos, that is, we can maybe get this changed or get some improvement to it, because I feel like the Honkai Star Rail team is pretty receptive to criticism and stuff we want added to the game. So I feel as long as we're speaking up and stuff, you know, taking the surveys in game, telling them what we want, I feel like there is a good chance that it could get added to the game. And this is one of those things I think would make a lot of sense, because let's be honest, the pass buffs do absolutely nothing. Like, or I guess pass in general do absolutely nothing, right? They just tell you kind of what a class of character does. It's the same way if you've played Quickie Run Kingdom before. You know, you have all these different classes of characters that really, I mean, I guess they kind of follow the path, but there's no like real benefit to having that on your team. And I think that could change, right? And like EO said in his video, I don't think that the right thing here or idea here is, you know, have like two imaginary characters, you get buff, yay, yippee. I mean, I guess something like that could work, but with a system I think could work, I actually have two different systems I think could work. I don't think that we necessarily need that, okay? So the first system I want to propose here is maybe having a leader system in the game. So having one character or one path be a leader for your team. Like when you go into Simulated Universe and it allows you to pick a path from there, I feel like that should be something you can do just from your team point or team standpoint in general, right? You bring, you know, your 4 characters in there and make one of them a leader and have whatever type of path they're on, have that be like a leader ability for the full team, right? I think something like that could be really cool to introduce. And I'm not saying like even put the characters like in a specific point on the team. I guess they could do something like that, like, oh, the leader needs to be on the left side. That doesn't really matter too much. But having leader abilities in the game, and not like tied to specific characters, because I think that kind of gets pay to win, you know, tying certain character buffs to this. And my relation to this would be Dokkan Battle. If you've played Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, I put a lot of the background music in the videos, and I know some of you guys do play it, so you guys would know about the leader abilities and how strong those leader abilities for those characters are. But they're very pay to win, because you know you obviously have to sell in for those characters to have leader abilities, and then they'd have to go back in and add leader abilities for all the characters. What my idea is actually having like the character's path be a leader ability. So say you have a team, like you have your hunt character, 2 buffers, and your abundance character, or 2 harmony and an abundance character, and setting one of these characters as your leader character, whereas they take the whatever path they have, they take a certain buff of that path. They would have to give buffs to every single path for this to happen, but giving a buff to every single path and going like, hey, apply this buff to the whole team. For hunt, that might be like, you brought up a good point, a weakness break efficiency. Like, so you increase the weakness break efficiency of the whole team. Or maybe something like for like harmony, where it goes, oh, let's give an attack buff to the whole team, or let's give a speed buff to the whole team because this is your leader on the team, and so on and so forth. I don't have all the ideas of what each one of these could do, right? I don't think they necessarily have to be like super specific to that class of maybe wanting to run more of one character. I just think that they should have different buffs to incentivize you running different characters with different teams. Now, I get this doesn't alleviate the issue of multipathing and creating brand new teams based off of the amount of paths you have in your team. This only alleviates the issue at like a very base level of, yo, you have this character and team, you want them to have the buff, right? I get that. I think that this system should be added with yet another system. I'm going to take this from Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle as well. Do you guys know of the link system from Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle? If not, basically what it is whenever you have a character, I'll try to show a visual here on screen, is you have multiple different tags for each character. So say the tags for Goku or something like Super Saiyan, Earthbound Hero, Kamehameha, and just kind of like give like a general analysis of like a general tag of what these characters could be, and giving them link skills through that, I think would be really cool as well. I do have another alternative to this, which I think would be easier to add into the game, which kind of goes into EO's point as well. But this point right here I kind of want to make is maybe we have characters like Belobog, right? We set like location tags, so you know, if you have multiple type of, you know, Belobog characters on the same team, they would get a buff, right? This doesn't really apply to the class system, I know, but have like, oh, well, these two characters will get a buff because they're both from this area. And how I think they could integrate the pass system into this as well, because I think they could integrate it in here, is give each character a tag of each one of these different typings that they are, right? So have Hunt as a tag. So if you have, you know, 2 Hunt characters on a team, they mesh together well, woo! Or if you have 2 Abundance on a team, ooh, they mesh together well, right? And then have alternative tags to that as well. Or maybe you have another tag where it's called like big damage or something like that, right? Where it specifies like certain characters under this tag, and if you put these 2 characters on a team together, they're going to activate new abilities, new buffs, because I think that would incentivize players to run different and more unique teams. Now, like I said, I know this is not on the buff or class system that's currently in the game right now, but I think this is something that could be integrated to the characters. I think would be fun to have. Now, if we're talking about the pathing system as a whole, or I guess like having like certain characters on the team, I think what they should do with this is kind of like the Genshin system, but how they have like their typing system for like, oh, if you run 2 Pyro, yippee. I don't think it should be like that. I think it should be kind of like relic sets, right? Where if you run 2 characters of a said like buff or whatever, then you can get this buff. If you run the full team, then you get a bigger buff or a better variation of a buff, right? So say there's a team of Harmony, Erudition, Abundance, Preservation, and if you're running a Preservation and Erudition character, then you get this said buff here. But if you run the full team of everyone there, then you get a bigger buff. I think something like that would be really, really cool. And as far as these buffs, they don't really have to be like super, super massive buffs, right? You don't have to see like, gives the whole team 120% extra attack, gives the whole team 50% extra damage. It doesn't have to be like that. I think even if they give like little speed buffs, little defense buffs, maybe extra shielding if you have these characters on the team, like EO mentioned, I think this would make the game much better and more fun to play, in my opinion, because it would allow more team comps to be ran, and you can get more silly goofy, right? Instead of having to run, oh, I just want to run hyper carry. I'm not saying that hyper carry wouldn't have a buff on its own, right? I think that all the different classes should have their own unique buffs, or I think the team, if you understand, I'm coping out right now. Basically, you know, it has a team list. It's like, yo, these are the different teams you could run. These are the different set bonuses you could run. Kind of like a relic, right? So think of relic sets, but for character buffs. That's the best way I can describe it. I'm trying to think of a game that kind of employs this. Maybe something like Eversoul or AFK Arena, right? Where if you have 3 characters of this, a character of this, and a character of this, it gives a buff, right? Or 2 characters of this, 2 characters of this, 2 characters of this, it gives a buff, right? But more expanded upon and very class specific. I think that would be something really cool to add to the game as well. What's up, guys? Future Editor YouTube here. I actually have another idea that I wanted to add on that I didn't speak about in this video, but I thought about it when I was making the thumbnail. But what if we do something like I have in my thumbnail here, where, you know, these buffs work for every person of the class? I think EO might have brought this up in his video. My brain's dull. I recorded this video hours ago, and I've already forgotten everything from hours ago. So, just take a look here. Like maybe like Hunt character gets break efficiency, and that's what the Hunt class gets. And maybe you can stack it, right? So maybe if you have multiple different Hunt characters on the team, this ability will stack. Maybe if you have multiple different Harmony characters, this ability will stack, and so on and so forth. But yes, back to the rest of the video now. But yeah, that's kind of my ideas on it. Guys, if you have any ideas what they could do with the class system in the game, then leave them in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this little copium video. I don't know how long it's going to be. We've been recording for 11 minutes now, so it's probably going to be on the shorter end of videos. And I probably had the Yap Fest of 2024, though the biggest yappening already happened earlier this year. This will be the second yappening of Christ. So anyways, guys, if you get that reference, then pog you, and I love you guys. Anyways, see you guys later. I'm going back to make another video on Is Kafka Worth It, because I'm still working on that video. Anyways, see you guys later. Bye-bye. Also, really quick side note, don't fuck from the last video that said Black Swan wouldn't work with Kafka. What the fuck are you on about? Anyways, let's go ahead. Anyways, goodbye, guys. See you later. Subscribe if you haven't already. Bye.